Imagine launching a spacecraft nearly half a century ago with a memory smaller than a modern calculator and powered by less energy than a household light bulb. And yet, somehow, it's still alive, still exploring. Still whispering across the infinite dark. And now, it has made a discovery so deeply unsettling, so profoundly strange, that scientists around the world were left in disbelief. Voyager 1, the most distant human-made object in existence, has just sent back data from the very edge of interstellar space. Data that doesn't align with any known model, any simulation, or any expectation. It suggests something impossible. For 45 years, this small probe has traveled farther than anything humanity has ever built, beyond the heliosphere, past the protective bubble of solar winds, and into the deep unknown. But the latest transmission has changed everything. It reveals that the space beyond our solar system is not the empty, silent void we once imagined. It's far more complex, chaotic, and, if the data is to be believed, perhaps even intelligent in ways we were never prepared to understand. Launched in 1977, Voyager 1 was designed for a modest 4-year mission. Its purpose was simple: observe Jupiter and Saturn, collect data, and quietly fade into the endless night of deep space. But what actually happened defied every expectation. Instead of fading, Voyager 1 kept going. It used gravity assists to slingshot past the outer planets, gathering speed and momentum until it crossed a threshold no other human creation had ever touched, the heliopause. This invisible boundary marks the end of the Sun's influence, the moment where the solar wind gives way to the vast and largely unknown currents of true interstellar space. Even as it drifted beyond 14 billion kilometers from Earth, the tiny craft continued to function, powered by a decaying nuclear battery and guided by 1970s technology that somehow resisted the radiation, cold, and isolation of space. Scientists celebrated its resilience, calling it a miracle of engineering. But no one expected it to still be sending meaningful data, and certainly not what it just revealed. Because beyond the heliopause, Voyager 1 didn't find silence. It found something else. Something that behaves like a void but isn't empty. For years, the spacecraft returned readings that challenged our understanding of interstellar space. Plasma densities higher than predicted, sudden bursts of radiation without apparent sources, and background noise that seemed to hum with a strange, rhythmic regularity. But one anomaly stood out above all the rest. In August 2012, when Voyager 1 officially crossed into interstellar space, scientists anticipated a clear, measurable shift in the magnetic field. A confirmation that the Sun's influence had finally ended. But that shift never came. The magnetic field didn't flip. It didn't bend. It barely changed at all. According to every model of the interstellar medium, this should have been impossible. The magnetic orientation was supposed to differ dramatically once the probe left the solar domain. Instead, it remained nearly identical to what it had been inside. Some researchers proposed that magnetic draping might be extending the Sun's influence farther than expected, while others suggested large-scale reconnection events. But none of these theories fully explained the data. Quietly, a few began to consider something stranger. That maybe interstellar space isn't as foreign as we think. Or worse, that something out there is shaping it, manipulating it, and perhaps even watching us through it. Then came the signal. What truly shocked the scientific community wasn't just the static anomalies or the plasma readings, it was the sound. Voyager 1 began transmitting low-frequency plasma waves that pulsed in eerie, perfect regularity. These weren't random bursts of cosmic noise. They were patterned, recurring every few weeks like the beating of a distant heart. Some claimed they were natural oscillations of plasma fields. Others speculated that they could be echoes of faraway supernovae or black holes interacting with interstellar gas. But a smaller, more cautious group began to whisper another theory, one too radical to publish. What if these waves aren't natural at all? What if they're signals? Not in the traditional, message-based sense, but structured pulses of energy, emitted by something ancient, vast, and perhaps self-aware. Something that stretches between stars like a neural network, a galactic mind. In this vision, Voyager 1 hasn't just stumbled upon empty space, it has brushed against the very thought patterns of the cosmos itself. If that's true, then what the spacecraft is receiving isn't merely radiation. It's presence. Not consciousness as we understand it, but an awareness, embedded deep in the fabric of reality itself. The probe's newest data paints an even stranger picture. Voyager 1's instruments have detected irregular timing discrepancies in the incoming plasma waves, signals that arrive milliseconds too early or too late. As if they're being reflected or refracted by something unseen. Some now suspect that Voyager 1 might not just be traveling through interstellar space. It might be gliding across the edge of a higher dimensional structure, where information itself can warp and loop. What began as a 4-year mission to Jupiter has transformed into a journey into the deep architecture of the universe. And with every signal it sends, the mystery grows deeper. Within NASA and the global astrophysics community, tension is quietly rising. Officially, Voyager 1's anomalies are attributed to aging hardware or natural cosmic interference. Unofficially, the debate has become a philosophical war. Traditionalists believe that every strange reading can be explained with enough math and patience. But younger scientists, those raised on quantum theory and multiverse models, see something more profound. They believe Voyager 1 has crossed into a kind of transition zone, where the boundaries between classical and quantum realities blur. A place where time and causality might begin to lose meaning. Supporting this theory is a disturbing phenomenon now known as the quantum echo effect. Certain packets of data from Voyager appear to contain mirrored versions of earlier transmissions, but these echoes often arrive before the originals. The messages loop, but out of sequence, as though time itself is folding around the probe. Initially dismissed as a system glitch, deeper analysis revealed that these echoes are not random. They contain subtle variations, altered timestamps, and embedded noise signatures, like reflections distorted by a rippling surface. One physicist described it as sending a message into a mirror and receiving the reply before you've even spoken. The implications are staggering. If Voyager 1 is indeed moving through a region where causality bends, then it may be offering humanity its first glimpse of a non-linear universe, one where time flows in both directions, or perhaps not at all. Then came the silence. After a particularly strong burst of plasma activity, Voyager 1 went quiet. For 72 hours, the spacecraft vanished from communication. No signal, no telemetry, no trace. Engineers feared it had finally succumbed to the void after decades of endurance. But when contact was re-established, Voyager was fine. Its systems were stable, its power levels normal. Except for one thing. Deep within its diagnostic logs, technicians discovered an unfamiliar time-stamped gap, data packets marked with internal codes no one remembered programming. It was as if, during those 72 hours, something else had accessed the probe. Something that interacted, retrieved, or altered data, and then left, leaving behind nothing but silence. And perhaps the most chilling thought is this: what if silence itself is the message? What if what we interpret as the absence of communication is, in fact, a different form of reply, a language we simply don't yet know how to hear? Voyager 1 was created to seek knowledge, to reveal the unknown. But after nearly 5 decades adrift in the cosmic dark, it has become something much more profound. A mirror, not of the universe, but of us. It reflects our curiosity, our arrogance, our longing to know what lies beyond the horizon. And maybe what it's showing us now is that the universe isn't a cold, empty void, it's a living system. A vast, interconnected consciousness that has finally noticed us. For 45 years, Voyager 1 has traveled in silence, carrying a golden record, a message of who we are, to the stars. It was never meant to return, yet it continues to speak. And what it's telling us might be the beginning of a revelation humanity isn't ready to face. Maybe it didn't just cross a boundary of space. Maybe it crossed a boundary of reality itself. And what waits beyond is not darkness, but awareness. So now, as we listen to the faint signal of a spacecraft older than most of us, we're forced to ask a question that no dataset can answer. What if Voyager 1 didn't just find the universe? What if it found something that's been waiting all along? What do you believe Voyager 1 really discovered out there? Was it just distortion and signal decay, or did we just make first contact with something far beyond our comprehension? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Nabrix for more stories that push the boundaries of what we think we know about reality.